Hello and welcome to the 1/106th of a second photography podcast. This episode is about repairs, and I've had previous episodes about repairing things and sending things off, and really we should make our devices, or not we, people, manufacturers should make devices that are repairable. Well, I completely agree with that after what happened. So you may have listened to my review of the Canon Powershot Zoom. I like it, I use it, it's a very niche product. And I was making a review for YouTube and I dropped it. And I dropped it on sort of a gravel pavement or gravel ground, you could say, and it broke and the front glass broke. Now, I hadn't had it very long and it broke. And I didn't drop it from a big height. I dropped it from maybe where my arms are, so arm height, I suppose, if we're being technical. And it broke. And I was really disappointed that it broke. It should be designed to, well, not break. It should be much more robust than that. Now, I think I'd said in my review, one of the things is there's no real protection for the lens. Now, the term lens is a bit difficult and just a bit difficult to talk about because there isn't really, well, the lens is actually inside. The lens that zooms is inside. It's not on the outside. This piece of glass is just your front element, but it broke. So I got in contact with the seller, who interestingly was Canon, and they said you can send it back, and they gave me the details. So I paid £10 to send it to be repaired. And then all manner of strange things happened. They sent me a quote and it said, or an estimate, and they said, it won't cost you anything, just £5 delivery to send it back to you. And I said, yep, that's fine, I'll go ahead with that. And then they kept sending me the same thing over and over again. So in the end, I got a bit fed up and I phoned them. And they said, oh no, an error's been made. It won't cost £5. It will cost more. We'll get an estimate out to you. So the estimate came back and it was £5 less than the cost I paid for the device to fix it. So again, I rang up and said, I'm not very happy with this. Are you telling me it costs £5 less to fix it than to get a new device? I might as well get a new device and, be done with it. I think this is ridiculous. So they said, oh, let me check that. And I said, how much does it cost to just swap the device out? Because they had mentioned in their quote, sometimes it can't be repaired and we'll just swap it out. They came back to me with, actually, this is the cost to swap it out. I said, well, God, I'm only saving £5. Just send it back and I'll fix it myself. So I've looked at other places for fixing it, but the problem is it's not a particularly well-known camera or device. I don't really think it's a camera. So I had to go myself. I got my super glue out and I disassembled it. The plastic was very easy to take off. I just prized it off and I could see the broken glass. Now, in my review, I have noted that if it's broken, this is the YouTube review, you can still use it. You can still look through it, even with a broken front element. You can still take pictures and it isn't that bad. So I could have lived with it. However, the problem is little bits of glass keep falling off. So if you put it in your bag, you're going to end up with glass. You put it in your pocket, you're going to end up with glass in your pocket. That's not very good. Sticking sellotape over it, that's not going to be good optically. So I decided I would fix it. I decided I'd fix it myself. Thank you, Canon, for being thoroughly useless. I'll do it myself. So I thought I could get a lens filter, like a UV lens filter, and I could cut out the piece of glass that needs replacing and I could put it in. But one of the things that really worried me was I knew if I use super glue that you get fumes and fumes will condense, or the gas will condense, and you'll get sort of this like smudginess. Now normally with super glue that doesn't matter, but if you're doing anything optically it does matter. So I thought, I don't want these fumes condensing on the lens or any mechanism that moves, because I will truly ruin it then if I do that. So I decided, rather than cut out a piece of glass from a lens filter, I'll just stick the lens filter over the front. Once I removed the glass, I could see that the lens is actually sealed in. So no bits of glass would get into the mechanism or the lens or anything, it's sealed in. This bit is just to protect it, this front element is just protection. It's not very good protection because it breaks itself. So I decided I'm probably going to break it again because it's such a badly designed product in that respect. So I'm going to just stick the lens filter on the front and then I can always replace it. So I super glued it on the front. You can't completely cover it, and you wouldn't want to anyway, because you would get all those fumes trapped on the filter and you would get sort of a reduction in optical quality. So there is a gap left to let the fumes out. Now, one of the things you don't want to do is you don't want dust and dirt and stuff getting on inside and in the unit. You want it sort of sealed as best you can. So I used a bit of gaffer tape to sort of plug up the hole to prevent stuff getting in. Now, I did get the super glue, sort of the super glue fumes condensing and settling, and it's ever so slightly visible in the image. It's right towards the end of the image. So in most cases you can't see it. It's only in very bright light you get a slight hazing, but you know what? It's better than it was. It hasn't cost me anything to repair because I used a 37mm UV filter that I had that I wasn't using. I don't even think I've got a lens that is 37mm anymore. So I've stuck it on, I've gone out and tested it. It's fine. It's not as good as when it came out of the factory. It's better than it was, and it didn't cost me anything. Now, one thing I would recommend to Canon is that you just build some form of protection in, even if the front bit just protrudes a little bit more. I'm wondering whether it broke because of the impact or it broke because something hit it. But either way, it's just not very good. And you know what, Canon? Your service with repairing and explaining things wasn't very good. God, if I was a professional, I'd be really worried about all the confusion that was around my repair order. It just wasn't very good. One of the things I used was super glue, as I mentioned. Now, the other thing is I don't know what glue you can use for optical stuff. So I always knew I was taking a risk using super glue, but I suppose I mitigated that risk by the way I did it. But I don't know what glue you can use for glass with lenses and stuff and optical stuff. It's a complete mystery to me. So if you know that, please let me know so that when I repair something next time, I have a better idea of what to order rather than just using super glue off the supermarket shelf. Anyway, thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.